Hi there. I am Dr. Aaron Michael Ulrey. So, I became interested in religion at a young age, I would say, because I was raised a Protestant fundamentalist Christian. We were Calvinists, which means we believed in predestination, as in God really doesn't choose who become saved or not. You either are or you aren't. You're predestined from birth. And that was kind of a hard way to grow up for me. And it was always really troubling. At the age of 17, I became kind of a rabid atheist. But then when I was in college, I met someone who introduced me to a shaman, or a neo-shaman. His name is Peter Richards. He's in Kalamazoo, Michigan. I'm from Grand Rapids, Michigan originally, though I live in Denver, and I did my PhD in California. And so I met Peter, and Peter taught me how to do trance meditation and shamanic journeying, in which I was able to meet spirit guides and animal teachers and whatnot. And right about the time that he told me it was time for me to start actually healing people and teaching other people how to do this, I said, no, I'm done. And I went on and I did a religious studies degree. At the time I was doing an English major, and I was trained to be a high school English teacher, and I did a minor in religious studies. And I walked into this room and I met this man named John Grimes. And within a year I was in India. So it was Hinduism 101, and John Grimes just inspired me. And after that year, I bartended the next summer, and I went to India for 3 months. And that was probably the pivotal experience of my life in many ways. It wasn't a study abroad. I just went. I knew a bunch of Indians through a temple in Michigan. And I also met a charismatic guru who was coming through town. They gave me a list of names of their family members and people they knew. And I just went around and I stayed in all these people's homes. And I stayed in ashrams. And an ashram is like a monastery. And sometimes I'd even stay in temples. I'd say for those 3 months, I probably only stayed in a hotel maybe 5 or 6 times. The rest of the time I was living with people and living with religious communities. I came back, finished my undergraduate degree, and realized I wanted to do more. So I applied to graduate school. I went to University of California, Santa Barbara, and I met my proper guru, my great guru, David White there. We'll read a little bit of his work. David's an amazing man. He talks like Christopher Walken. He looks like Mick Jagger. He's about 5'3". He's a great guy. But yeah, so David had these incredible classes, and those classes and sort of my own journey took me from not wanting to be a religious person, because I sort of identified as a Hindu at that time, and wanting to not think about myself anymore. I didn't want to think about philosophy. I wanted to learn the languages and the cultures and the histories. I wanted to make sense of the astrologers and the monkeys and the cows and the temples, and me trying to figure out how to have a mystical meditative experience wasn't helping me do that. It wasn't helping me make sense of what happened in India. So I continued working, and I developed my own research, which is on magic rituals in India, where I study aggressive magic rituals. They would be what you call black magic. In fact, in every Indian language that I speak, and the ones I don't, I've noticed when I'll talk to people, they will defer, and when I talk about my research, they're like, yeah, we know what that is. And then they'll say in Hindi, they'll say, we know what that is, मैं सोचता है कि ये black magic है. They'll defer to the words black magic as what I study. So I study black magic. My passion for religion, where did it come from? I wanted to make sense of things, and religion has always troubled me. And sometimes when I'll do an exercise with my students where I ask them, what's the most interesting thing about you? And I always say, it's my passion for love and religion. I guess I'm less interested in love these days. I'm still passionate about religion. I'm interested in the strange and the magical. I'm interested in people that do magic rituals to change the world. I don't think they work, but people do them. They do them all over the world. They do them throughout history. In fact, I was doing all this research on Sanskrit sources in Hinduism about magic rituals, and I couldn't make sense of them. So I started reading all of this Greek material, reading about the Hellenistic world, the world that Christ came out of, in fact, and I found all of this magic. And the people thinking about the magic there were able to allow me to make sense of the magic in India. So I'm working on several things right now. I just finished an entry for the Encyclopedia of Hinduism, published by Brill in the Netherlands, on magic rituals. I'm working on a book about magic rituals in Hinduism. And I'm regularly speaking, because I think I'm the only one in the world that knows about this, about magic rituals in Jainism. I translated in my dissertation two different kind of extensive texts out of Jainism. Jainism is the religion of absolute nonviolence, and they're very much anti-sexuality in the body, but they have these tantras, these texts that are about, how to kill people, how to seduce people. It's like, what's going on here? Again, that's the weird. Why do you have Jains and Buddhists doing magic rituals to kill people? Hindus, it kind of makes sense. But it's just so odd. And it's the odd that I find interesting. Maybe that's why I'm so interested in religious studies, is because I'm interested in the odd, in the strange, in the uncanny. Being an odd, uncanny, and strange person myself, it makes a bit of sense. So why do I want to take a world religions course? Honestly, look, this world religions course is the course I wish I would have taken when I was an undergraduate, because it just opens up so many avenues. Because this class is very much an introduction to religious studies, and I find religious studies to be the most compelling way to understand that people make sense of the world, because religious thinking is at the basis of, to me, what we do all the time, how we think, who we are, what we think of ourselves. So that is my introduction.